The film opens in eerie silence. An elderly woman, Barb, sits alone in her dimly lit home. Her eyes, heavy with years of love and loss, rest on a small metal box before her. Inside it are her husband's ashes. She traces the lid with trembling fingers, sorrow etched deep in her face. You can almost feel the weight of time pressing on her shoulders, the kind of loneliness that doesn't come from being alone, but from having loved deeply and lost completely. Honoring her late husband's final wish, Barb sets out on a solemn journey, to scatter his ashes on Lake Hilda, a frozen, secluded lake in northern Minnesota where the two once shared their happiest memories. But nature has other plans. As a violent snowstorm descends, Barb drives through the whiteout, ignoring every FM radio warning about bad roads. But grief has deafened her to reason. Hours later, she faces a fork in the road, disoriented by the storm. Two paths, both swallowed by snow. She spots a nearby cabin and decides to go ask for directions. She meets a man, camo jacket, his eyes sharp and unfriendly. She notices a dark stain on the snow, but he claims it's from a deer. Barb nods politely, but something in her gut twists. When she finally reaches the lake, the past comes rushing back like a flood. Memories of her husband teaching her to fish on the frozen water. Laughter, warmth, love, the ache of what's gone. Tears mix with snowflakes as she prepares to scatter his ashes. Then a gunshot, followed by a scream. Barb looks up just in time to see a young woman, Leah, stumbling through the blizzard, hands bound, terror in her eyes, chased by the man in the camo jacket. He fires again, knocking her down, and drags her back. In that instant, Barb's grief turns to fire. This isn't just a story of loss anymore. It's the awakening of a survivor. Barb rushes to her truck to call for help, but the tires spin uselessly, stuck deep in the snow. With no choice left, she trudges back to the cabin. She discovers a window leading to the basement, and there, tied to a wooden pillar, is Leah. Before Barb can act, another vehicle pulls up outside. A woman steps out, the purple lady. Her expression is cold, calculated. She spots Barb's mitten in the snow, and a message written in condensation on the glass. Realizing someone's been there, she storms inside, confronting her husband. He admits that an old lady came asking for directions earlier. The couple exchange a knowing look, then head out to find her. Barb flees and prepares a trap on the frozen lake near her fishing shack. As the couple approaches with guns drawn, the ice gives way. Camo jacket plunges into the freezing water. Purple lady screams, trying to pull him out, while Barb seizes the moment to rush back for Leah. But the attempt fails. Desperate, she floods the cabin's pipes, soaking everything to freeze it solid, an improvised defense. The couple returns, furious. Purple lady shoots Barb in the arm, sending her stumbling into the storm. Wounded and bleeding, Barb takes shelter in her truck, where flashbacks of her husband proposing to her play in her mind, love, warmth, and laughter now ghosts beneath the ice. She finds a pistol, one that camo jacket dropped earlier, and steels herself for what's next. Meanwhile, inside the couple's car, truth unravels. Purple lady, now shivering from the cold, reveals she's terminally ill. She needs a liver transplant, and Leah, once her patient at the hospital, is their unwilling donor. They plan to perform the transplant on the frozen lake, where the evidence will vanish beneath the ice. Purple lady, now weak and coughing, tells her husband, it has to be done today. He agrees, loading tools into a sled while she drives Leah in the car toward the lake. Barb sees them. Through the swirling snow, she spots camo jacket pulling tools across the ice. Realizing what's about to happen, she rushes back to the cabin, but Leah's gone. Then, as Barb turns to leave, she notices something, a two-way communication radio in the couple's vehicle. Hope flickers. She blocks herself inside and begins transmitting desperately. Hello? Hello. This is Barb. There's a girl, they're trying to. Then a voice replies, faint but real. We hear you. Stay put. Help is on the way. But before she can respond again, the cabin door bursts open. Camo jacket has returned. Barb stabs him in the foot and sprints into the storm, clutching the radio and gun. At gunpoint he finally breaks. He tells Barb the terrible truth. His wife, the Purple Lady, is terminally ill, dying from liver failure. The young girl, Leah, was once her patient, admitted to the hospital after a suicide attempt. The doctors discovered she was a perfect match. Barb convinces Camo Jacket to turn himself in, to save Leah and stop this madness. He hesitates, then agrees to drive toward town for help. But before he gets far, Purple Lady intercepts him and shoots him dead. Barb sets her truck ablaze, a flaming beacon in the storm, hoping rescue will see it. Two hunters spot the explosion and rush to help, but Purple Lady ambushes them both, killing them in cold blood. Barb finds Camo Jacket's corpse in the car, her rage boiling over. She confronts Purple Lady, shoots her in the leg, but the woman knocks her out. When Barb awakens, she's chained in the basement beside Leah. Weak but defiant, she frees herself, but before she can unchain Leah, Purple Lady catches them. With her gun drawn, she forces them both outside, toward the lake. There, on the frozen wasteland, stands a makeshift surgical tent, lit by lanterns. Inside, she orders Barb to tape Leah to a surgical bed. When Barb finishes, Purple Lady shoots her in the chest, then frantically marks Leah's body for the operation. But Barb isn't finished. With the last of her strength, she lunges. The tent erupts into flames. The fire spreads fast. Barb, gasping, makes one final plea. "Take me instead. Take my liver, let her live." Purple Lady shakes her head, eyes wild. So Barb makes her choice. She handcuffs herself to Purple Lady, whispering, "Then we both go." With one last look at the sky, she drags them both into the freezing water. The lake swallows them whole. As they sink, Barb releases the metal box, her husband's ashes drifting upward like silver snow. Moments later, Leah crawls across the ice, trembling, alive. She finds a photo, Barb and her husband smiling by the same lake, long ago. Tears freeze on her cheeks. Barb's journey began in grief and ended in grace. She kept her promise, to her husband and to her heart. The camera pans to the horizon, the storm quiet now, the lake still. Thank you for watching. See you next time.